Is it on go or is it on 3 or is it on 1?
Problematic.
I'm Marquise.
Problematic. Problematic. Cookout podcast. Here, Se2 in the building. Problematic.
It's your boy Juju.
Problematic. Cookout podcast. Problematic.
Yo, what did my man just say then?
Problematic.
Yo, you're listening to Mr. Rock.
Problematic. Cookout podcast.
Yeah, what it do, everybody? Welcome back. Happy New Year. Whatever else I need to wish y'all. You are listening to The Problematic Cookout, where we bring you the topics no one wants to talk about and try to find a middle ground. I'm your boy Juju, your host for today, and let me check in with my co-host, my boy Se2. What you on?
Yo, what's good? What's up?
Man, confused there. You straight? took the whole New Year's off. Don't know how to introduce yourself.
This guy put two words into one. What's up?
I don't know how I tripped up. I guess the excitement is just too real for the podcast.
Exactly.
Happy to be back.
Mr. Rock, how you been, man? How was your holiday?
Yo, just here, taking it easy, but still keep moving 100 miles an hour. Or as we say in North America, was it 140 kilometers an hour?
He said kilometers.
That's Canadian, bro.
My boy Marquise. Marquise, what you been on, man?
I'm chilling, bro. During the off season, got myself a couple more white tees. So didn't wear it today, but honestly, I'm gonna wear them next time.
Honestly, Christmas 2021, I'm gonna get you T-shirts other than white tees, man. That's on the list already.
I'll get the soul powder as well. Yeah.
Nah, you know what it is. I keep it simple. You guys already know what I like. So if you guys need to give me a gift, my birthday, anything,
Man keeps it simple in the early 2000s, bro, dude. Like, what's going on with you?
But he does spice it up with the do-rags, though. He's like, keep it simple with the tees and then spice it up with the do-rags. I see you, boy. But hey, before we jump into anything, I know some of y'all listening and are not subscribed yet. So go ahead, click that button. Write us a review. Let us know what you think, what you want to hear more about. We want to hear more of your feedback. So go ahead, click that button before we get into anything. But, yo, this year already looking kind of crazy. But we're going to not jinx it, and we're going to kick this off with something special. So we're going to do some mini-series this year. So get ready for something new here. If you're listening, if you're new here, welcome. We're glad to have you. But we're going to speak about finding your passions for a couple series. We have a great lineup of guests. It's going to be amazing. So make sure you're tuned in. But today we're just going to talk about personal accountability a little bit and what's your responsibility in that whole process of finding your passion, right? Because I have this core belief, and I know that some of y'all going to get mad. Some of y'all not going to like it. But I think that your situation isn't your fault, but how you react to the situation and how you handle it, that is on you. That's your responsibility. Any situation you're on, you have, I guess, an opportunity to respond to it, and how you handle that, that's on you.
Preach,
I'm
brother.
saying, and the outcome is a little bit on you, but I don't know. Am I the only one that think that, or everybody out there? Because
well, first of all, this guy's preaching. Did you see what he's wearing today?
Right. Father Juju,
man.
He humbly
Father
abode.
Juju, yes, sir.
I'm just trying
Please
to
bless
come back
us
to
with
my
the
roots.
sermon from the motherland.
Hey man, I just had to throw a little something on. I was saying, I got done with the work. They just had
Spiced
to
it
put a
up,
little
bro.
T-shirt. But yeah, man, what y'all think about this little accountability deal and what people have to do to get out of the whatever situation they're in?
Yeah, accountability is real.
Mm-hmm.
I respect people that own up to what they're responsible for. May be good, may be bad, but you bring it to the table and let me know that I messed up, or I need to manage that or take control of that. Then I respect that person 100%. Just be real. Be honest, be real. Everyone messes up. Everyone makes mistakes at some point. So just be honest, hold it, and work on it and develop it, Don't know about you guys. What you saying?
You gotta, man, everyone has crappy situations, right? If you plan ahead, you just gotta plan ahead and like try your best to stick to the plan that you have set for yourself. It's okay if you pivot. It's okay if your plan didn't work out and then you come up with a new plan. But you know, the hand that you're dealt with, if you just stick with it, you're never gonna get out of it, right? So, and I know this from experience. You know, I started in a not so great situation, and is my situation great? It's better. It's a lot better than before. But
yeah, peep his camera, y'all, man. Like that boy moving up in the world.
Yeah, he looking clean.
I had to do the upgrade, you know. It's a 2021 moves,
you can tell he moving up.
The next thing is gonna be the background. It's gonna be a whole different thing. Watch. Just wait on it. But you know, you definitely gotta plan ahead. If you don't plan nothing, and you just kind of just winging it each time, or just letting it be to something like. What else do you expect? You're never really gonna get out of the situation, bro.
Man, personal accountability, bro. Like, it really depends what kind of situation you're in, right? It depends on what kind of challenges you're trying to face and what you're trying to do with your life.
There we go.
Yes, we can say yes. Everyone needs to be, you know, on a certain path to success and all that. But like, you also got to look at it on the other side and say, it depends what that guy even feels about his situation. Maybe he doesn't even know that his situation is dire, right? Like he might need that little helping hand to show him that, you know, what you're doing is clearly not right. You need to figure out, you know, and sort out your situation and figure out how you're going to succeed moving forward. But the whole point of, you know, the situation isn't your fault. Yes. How you handle that situation is. But, you know, sometimes I feel like people are hard-headed and may not even be able to understand what the situation there is and what they're how they're acting and what they're doing is literally negatively affecting their lives. You know what I mean?
Like you and these white tees, man.
Bro, like I would say yes and no to that, but like, you know, when I look at the world, and I think that we've conditioned, you know, I've spoken about my thoughts on millennials, and I know people don't like me saying that, but you know, I think 2021 I'm gonna just have to keep it 100. But I see a lot of people just being enabled. We make excuses for ourselves, and I look at what we consume, you know, and what's out there, and it's like, oh, nothing's your fault. You know, it's not your fault. The situation you're in, it's
Hit
not your fault.
Hit him with the Goodwill Hunting.
So somebody gonna come. And like, but like for real though, like it's like, what we gonna do? Just sit there and wait? Like just sit there and like wait for hopefully somebody to come save us? I just like ask myself like, what are we expecting else? Like we got to take, you know, it's your life. Like people that are out there, you know, charity, like that are giving back to charity, that are giving back to the unfortunate. I'm like, that is great, but I'm not going to depend on that to get to where I want to be in life. So I don't understand how other people just kind of sit back and expect that like others are going to come fix my situation. See, and I feel, go ahead.
I want to piggyback on that too, because there's a lot of people who also always try to help other people, but you can't even help people that don't want to help themselves.
Yeah,
that's my point.
Like people,
and sometimes you got to put yourself first. You got to make sure you're okay. It's like on a sinking ship. You got to make sure you're okay so you can hold other people and, you know, bring them out of the war as well. So it's a bit of a balancing act.
But here's the thing: like even the people who, you know, you let's say you did try to help them, and you know they don't really want to help themselves. Even just getting that little bit of knowledge, I think it helps them in the long run. Because then again, maybe down the line they'll say, you know what? Actually, that guy was kind of right. Maybe I should be trying to do something different.
Sometimes a lot of people are self-destructive though, because you know when you're older and you're stuck in your ways, bro, you can't tell people nothing. And then when like you look at them and you're like, this is clearly not right. But if they're gone that far over the edge, they're not even susceptible to the help you're trying to offer. So they just end up stuck in the same.
But that's the thing when we talk about personal accountability. Like a lot of people are at that stage. No one can tell them nothing. How can you help them then? You can't really help them at that point.
Yeah, but that's not on nobody else though. That's kind of my point. Like that at that point, that's on you. You know, if you're gonna get yourself down the rabbit hole of, you know, you're now down bad and nobody, you know, you can't be helped anymore. I also think that it starts so soon and if all you're telling people is how like the whole idea of enabling people, like I see that a lot happening in our everyday life where it's like, oh, we enable people, oh, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, it's not your fault, until we let them continue making self-destructive decisions until they get to a point of no return, and then we're like, oh well, but they're down real bad, so therefore, we need
then
to
sometimes you got them situations where sometimes you have to say something. You say it once, you say it twice, then it's like, okay, go ahead. Go and hit your head. Hit your head again. And then finally you'll figure out there's a wall in front of you and you need to go around it, But sometimes people have to be left to do it. You could tell them this is going to happen, this is going to happen. And then they decide, you know what, I'm going to do this anyway because it's fun.
That's true.
It's exciting for them to screw up and mess up and make how many mistakes. But as they get older and they get more responsibilities, then it's kind of like, you know what, now I have to,
for sure
take that guidance and make those right decisions.
Like, so I would like say that, but when I talk about personal accountability, like I wouldn't necessarily say that it's on me, right? Like I'm like, if I come to someone, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna help you out. That's cool, but how you gonna receive it? How you gonna receive the resources? How you gonna receive the information? And I look at a lot of information. I think about a lot of people that now grow up in poverty, and that sucks. It's something that I obviously have compassion for. I don't want anyone to grow up in poverty or things like that. But then I look at so many people that pull themselves out of poverty. And for me, my mindset is like, I'm going to look at these people because that's where I came from. And I'm going to try to figure out from there, how did they do it? Okay, well, they learned a skill that is marketable and that someone's going to pay you for and whatnot. And I'm going to replicate that. But nowadays, what I have the feeling of is a lot of people are just kind of looking into everything that will self-assure them that it's okay for them to stay down. Like, oh, you're feeling this way.
Oh yeah,
you're feeling this way. It's okay. It's not your fault.
It's all about your surroundings, right? Yeah. If you're around people that are on this level, right, and you feel like you're doing this, you're kind of like comfortable. It's like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm looking down, or I'm thinking, these people ain't coming up to me, so I'm okay staying there. So it depends on what level you're on. Then you start moving around other people and you're like, okay, now I need to, pull myself up by my bootstraps, as they say. But it all depends on who you surround yourself with. If you're down with low down people, most likely you're going to be a low down person, unless you're around other people that are going to uplift you. Because you could still be around low down people and still have other people on the other side. But it's all about managing those relationships and being responsible for, what you're going to do moving forward and outside of those circles. Some people you're around because they make you laugh and you have fun with them. There's other people around you that will give you the education and direction to move forward. So you gotta figure out who's who and what's what.
But in addition to that, though, if you guys think about it, like everyone had a chance to learn personal accountability at some point in their life, even from a very young age. Despite everything I've said prior to this, everyone does have the opportunity early in life. When you go to school, they kind of teach you how to be accountable for your actions, right? Like, they give you rules. You got to do your homework. If you don't do your homework, you get in trouble, things like that. Everything's kind of
people that don't follow it anyway. And
exactly. So like everything is
I was one of them.
Everyone is given an opportunity to actually learn accountability, right? And if you go off the rails, don't learn how to do it at a young age, it becomes even harder to do it at elderly age as an adult.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what the outcome is. It's what the outcome is. People will be very responsible if they know this is going to impact their financial situation or their income.
True.
You're making a certain amount of money or you're going to get this if you perform and you deliver this. Some people don't really care. Some people are just like, as long as I'm surviving, but still they need to survive, so they need to do certain things to survive, right? But it all depends on what level of income they want to attain.
But that's where, when we have some of these topics around like income inequality and stuff like that, because a lot of like when I look at that, I'm often, and obviously we're gonna have more conversations like later on when we talk about social issues and whatnot. But we're gonna talk about some of that. But when I see some of these things, and I think about, well, some of these people just don't want to do the work, I guess. And I'm like, okay, well, I get it. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't knock that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm someone that's ambition. I get that not everyone's like that. But should there even be a reward then? Like, because a lot of times I hear this income inequality just seen as such a bad thing. And I'm like, then what should be the reward for someone that just works a little harder, that makes, you know, a little better decision, that takes the time to educate themselves just a little more? Like, what should be that reward? Like, if, you know, like, I know it's okay for someone not to want to work as hard, or not to want a different situation, to want to do the bare minimum, but then how I don't know if y'all have any thoughts on this, or if I'm just rambling.
I think there's also something in terms of like how educated or how much common sense, which isn't that common, someone has in terms of how they're managing themselves. So, you know, two people could be raised in the same household and have totally different ways of looking at the world and life and what they want to achieve, right? Also, you know, the speed of their learning and education. So there's all those kind of things that sometimes we have to take into consideration and be like, okay, for child A, I've got to be a bit more with this. Child B, I've got to be more with that. So it's understanding not just what we expect, but how we are going to manage people to get to those points. If you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So feeding the right information to somebody one way. So I could be a practical person. I have to show you practically how to do this. Whereas the other person, I have to be verbal with them. But if I'm trying to teach the wrong thing to the wrong person, they're not going to get it.
Oh, man.
So certain things we have to put through the steps and, you know, show them like, okay, to me, at my age, I might think to myself, well, this is basic. You should be able to do this. Why can you not do this? Right? But then I might have to step back and think to myself, okay, maybe I need to educate that person and grow them and groom them to the point where they are then responsible for certain things. Know why you should do this and why you should do that. Because right there at that time, to them, it's kind of like, well, I'm young. I ain't going to worry about it.
Yeah.
No,
but
for sure.
at what point do you then switch on to be like, now I've got to worry about it? So the quicker that they pick up on things, the further in life they'll be earlier in their life in terms of, you know, being happy and, you know, having the things that they want.
On a certain tip, you know, the socioeconomics behind that, why, you know, there's a vicious cycle of poverty. People in you know, certain environments and neighborhoods just kind of feed off of that and just continue down this like downward spiral and stuff like that. But that being said, you can't save everybody, right? You just can't save everyone, right?
Not everybody makes it.
If you can save yourself first. If you can save yourself, and then you can save one other person, that should be good enough, right? And that, if you can hold one other person accountable for their actions and like, hey, you're in this situation that this has been handed to you. Here are X, Y, and Z things you can do to try and get yourself out. And if they're susceptible to that and you can help them, sure. If you have to deliver it in a special way, you could only do that if you've been somewhat of a product of that environment. So if you've never been in that environment, you'll never be able to save that one person, but you can probably save somebody else. And that should be fine too, right? If
but
you know,
all that is good, but what Juju is saying is that everybody should want to do better, right?
I'm not honestly. I'm like I would want to like speak on that. Like I don't think that everyone should want to do better. My point is just you should do better if you want better. That's it. Like so, if you want a better situation than the one you're in now, get your shit together and fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want to make more money, go find people that make more money and ask them how they make more money. You know, don't just sit there and be like, like don't just sit there and be like, somebody messed up, therefore I'm not making enough money. That's my point.
Yeah.
It's like if you're not where you're at in life, you have more control over it. And I know that like there's definitely some places where that's not a reality. But I think about where we at, where we all are in like Western society and whatnot. If you want better in life, if you want a different situation, the resources are out there and they're not all expensive. Because one thing that I wanted to speak to what you were saying a little bit. Like I think that our education system is almost like flawed. But like you were talking about like the different avenues of learning. I don't know if you guys saw me, but my wheels were spinning because I was thinking now that makes it really hard for our education system. Like how do we now teach? You know, how do we now
just a blanket? right
Yeah,
method of
exactly.
teaching.
Because like the teaching in school is just like this. But Sida, we mentioned that boy Graham Stephan, right?
Yeah.
Like we watch him on YouTube, but that boy wasn't like school smart.
He wasn't smart. He didn't go to
Yeah,
college either.
Exactly. He didn't go to college. He wasn't like, school smart, but somehow like he the man a multimillionaire and he is one of the smartest person. Like now I watch him every day and I get a lot of my finance tips from him. So I'm just thinking I don't have an answer to that obviously, but I'm just thinking, how does our education system even teach all of that? But yeah,
See,
go ahead.
it's a bit
Sida.
rough though, because I think education in and of itself shouldn't really, like, it should lead, like, if you go to education and get an education to try and better yourself, right? But education is not there to make you better, like, in your own respect, right? There's an agenda behind the people who have set up what education is today. Otherwise,
What would
we
you say that
have,
is?
Well,
'Cause that's an interesting
I
topic.
feel like it's another talk for another episode. But the people who have set up, public school, private school, and this and that and the third, they wanted to instill a certain knowledge in a group of people to make sure that they work and, in America at least, help run the economy. It's not to make the citizens better than what they once were. It's to make them all get jobs and run the economy. Now, if the jobs that they get are not great after their schooling and they desire more schooling to get something more specialized, that's kind of how education works. And that's unfortunate, but you should know what you want to be in life, and if it requires a certain amount of education, then you should be trying to use all the appropriate means to get it, whether that be financial education, whether that be some kind of sports athletic kind of thing. If you want to be a doctor, clearly that's a whole level of education you got to be.
Yeah.
But it's not like all the schools say, hey, everyone be doctors, so
Marquise, you weren't going to say something? Because
No, that's fine. I was gonna raise a point, but I do agree with what Sid is saying. I was just about to say, education definitely is not for everyone. They're just trying to make a level playing field in terms of literacy, right? And that's why here in Canada we have the literacy test in grade 6 or something like that. They want to make sure everyone achieves a certain level of literacy, and then after that you can kind of do whatever you want. But they just want to make sure everyone's competent. At the end of this.
He's like, can you read the newspaper? Can you balance your checkbook?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a
All
ticket
right, we
into
did
the
our
park.
job. Yeah.
That's it.
It's a ticket into the park. Once you get in the park, then you figure out what ride you want to get on.
It's like,
Without
you want to
ticket,
buy this house?
You ain't getting in.
We don't
straight
got
up,
that for
Rock.
you, dog. Like,
yeah,
You know what I
but
mean? So
but
sometimes
even
you
with
just
that,
got to
man.
work to get that ticket, and then when you're in, make sure you're looking for the right ride that you want to be on. Like some
No,
people
for
think,
sure.
oh, I'll get the ticket into the park. That's enough. Nah, it ain't.
100%, because that piece of paper is way overvalued nowadays, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
even with that, I mean, we're gonna have conversations about the flaws in the education system as a whole in the future. But when I think about, for me, like I have a hard time with that, because even the literacy stuff, right? Like the math, like you can learn that, Marquise, like you said, like by grade 6. But then after that, what happens between 6 and 12, right? And I think that there's so many of these life skills, and we're not teaching people to critically think, and we're trying to mold these people as like these exact. How many career counselors do you know if like someone says like, well, I want to own a business, and people are like, find something safer,
it's like, yeah, good luck with you.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's
what? This is going to be a whole other topic, because I don't know if any of you guys even used guidance counselors in high school or anything.
Man,
like
I can't remember mine.
Yeah, I can't even remember one time I walked inside that office.
I came out of uni thinking about
remember
what am I
mine.
going to do.
I remember mine.
But that's the problem, bro. Rock, you were just saying that like you come out of uni and people have no idea what to do.
Nah.
But uni ain't cheap. like how
Nah,
you
it ain't, man.
like how you gonna spend 50 grand with no exact purpose? You know what I'm
not
saying?
no
Like,
time.
And the thing is, like going to uni, some people see it as, okay, I need to be doing something. I need to be showing that I'm educating myself. I'm trying to move
Yeah.
forward. If I take this degree course that lasts 3 years, I ain't really got to think about it.
Exactly.
I ain't going to be accountable for anything other than getting this degree. And then when you come out on the other side, it's kind of like, Okay, I'm no longer a student.
Yeah.
So I'm either gonna make something of myself or just be a bum with a degree, with a piece of paper.
And that's rough
you
too,
know?
because you get the degree, and then like halfway or like most of the way through the degree, you're just like, I'm in so deep and still don't know what to do. I'm just gonna choose the path of least resistance. And you just pick some major, and then now you get a job that doesn't associate with the major. It's rough. Like it's really hard
For sure. But we're getting a little off
Yeah, we
the
get far off
accountability
topic.
part. But
Yeah. I've created like 3 more podcasts. episodes.
exactly.
Off this one, like,
hey,
20
stay
minutes.
tuned, everybody. This is gonna be interesting.
We're gonna bring it back.
One thing that I've been into recently, and I know Sido, like you've spoken about that before, but like it's like kind of these self-help books and the insight that I'm getting. But I remember honestly always seeing like any influential person, a little bit to what I said before was that I think that people consume so much bad of so much, like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't, and they start believing it. You start believing for them yourself, right? And what I started doing is reading into people that can do it, that tell me you can do it, you do it this way, and then this way, and then this way, and I follow those steps. And that return on investment on investing in yourself and in your mind is astronomical. But I just think that our generation or people out there gotta stop, like, get off the negativity of like social media, mainstream media, all of that, and just go look after what you want to be and figure that out. Like you're like, okay, well, I want to be someone that's mentally stable. Go find somebody that's mentally stable and read the steps that they took to becoming there, right? Oh, I want to be rich, but I come from poverty. Go find somebody that comes from poverty and get there. One book I read.
Here's the thing about before you do the next bit. Here's the one thing about those self-help books that I think.
Tell me all about it, dog.
No, in my opinion, or this is something I kind of struggle with sometimes. Is like you think you figured it all out. You think you know everything. You don't really need someone else's help or someone else's opinion or someone else's way of doing things. You kind of feel like you know it all, right? That's kind of an attitude a lot of people already have. I had that attitude for a while too. But that just goes back to, it's actually very important to actually getting more information than what you know. It's actually very important to kind of looking at these books, because no, you don't have it all figured out. Life's a lot bigger than you think, right? So it is a key bit, and it's good that you brought it up, Juju. We should be looking into these books, other people's experiences, and try to decipher and gain something out of it. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
No, for sure. I don't know if y'all had anything to say, but
so
I
right now, tag on actually. My bad.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and when you go to looking at these self-help books and you're looking towards like other influential people to kind of pick their brain at whatever topic, of course, 100% of what they're talking about isn't going to apply to you and your life.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
It's their experience.
But you having it in the back of your head, you might reach a point where this might actually be useful. Or if you get a conglomerate of ideas, you can take bits and pieces from each one that actually relate to your situation, and then make a whole new perspective that pulls you out of the water. And that's something I do all the time, especially on like YouTube. Like, so you guys know I'm a tech nerd. If I'm looking at a new computer part that comes out, I'm like, oh, the crazy 5,000 thing, whatever it is.
You said they're crazy 5,000 things.
Yeah, I have no idea. I had two different thoughts there, right? And it just fused into something terrible. But anyway, so a new computer part comes out. Everyone who's a tech reviewer on YouTube will actually review this part, and everyone will have a different conclusion about it. And you just do a summation of all those conclusions and figure out, hey, is this part for me? Do I need this? And I do that with a lot of different things, whether it's like it's cooking, it's real estate, investing.
Yep.
The more you kind of look into the category that you're trying to better yourself in, the more avenues you get of, assuming enough knowledge. My bad, hit the mic. Assuming enough knowledge to like actually make it usable and work for you.
Yeah, it's It's a bit like I like to relate things to real life things that you can actually see and stuff. Like you use Google Maps and you want to get it to a particular location, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will show you 3 different ways of getting there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you're still getting to that same destination. Now, without the Google Maps or without a map, you're just wandering looking for something. You don't know where you're going, how you're going to get there. But the fact that you get these 3 different options, it's like reading 3 different books, and they might give you 3 different bits of guidance on how to get to that location.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then from there, you can figure out which is the best one without, having to be told this is the right direction. At least you know if that's blocked off, you can go around and go another direction.
Fork somewhere else, yep.
Yeah. So I find, reading self-help books gives me the ability to think of things from many different angles, because I'll read something and I think, oh, I've kind of heard that in another book, but I've approached it from a different angle.
Yeah.
Or it might be, oh, I was thinking about that. How was I thinking about that? And it's in this book. And it makes me, it gives me more energy to actually read more and push forward a bit more, because I'm thinking, well, I'm on this path that this person that's authored and created this book, he was on earning millions and millions of dollars, right? Mm-hmm. If I'm then on that path, I want to get more closer to that destination. So I might follow a bit more of their path.
Yeah.
Check out somebody else's. But then that's up to me to make that decision. I'm not just going to read one book and think like, oh, this book is everything I need to know.
Yeah,
about
sure.
Everything.
That's super important. And I think you guys both mentioned that
Yep.
the ability to critically think and take this is like, this applies to me. This not too much, because I'm reading some of these books. I'm reading the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People right now. Super good. And sometimes I'm thinking like,
right there.
yeah, like and sometimes I think like, there we go. We got the whole squad with it. Marquise, where's yours at?
Man, let me get my
Mine's in the corner, dog.
He said mine in the corner.
We're gonna have to hook you up on that website.
Nah, you need to start an Amazon book list or something. Problematic.
The problematic book list. Yeah, we gonna get.
Yeah.
But anyway, whenever Sido come
7.
back, we sometimes I read these books. Sometimes I read these books
we
and
got it.
there we go. We're in the game. But what I was trying to say, it was like sometimes I read these books and I'm like, man, how nobody, like everyone should be reading this. Like this should be like what they teach you in high school. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad recently. I'm like, this is the way to really making money. Like that, corporate world is great. I think that it's amazing, and some people just want to follow that path. But if you want to get to the next level, if you want to think, next level, you got to read some of these books, how to win friends and influence people, like how to deal with relationships. So all of those, I'm sometimes thinking like, oh, how are people not all reading this? But I think that the ability to critically think and take the good and leave the bad and really be like, okay, this is not a one size fits all. I need to read a lot of these to really figure out what fits for me and take all the good that fits to my life. And that's why I always, I'm on Goodreads. So anyone on the add your boy Juju Caffo on Goodreads. But I always read the reviews of a book before I read it. And sometimes I see such negative reviews of a book that I end up loving. I'm like, it's because people take it so literal, right? They're like, it's someone calling you out on your BS sometimes, right? It's like, yo, nah, I can't just fix my life by just seeing things different, by just applying things different. So like, it's important to take these things and be like, okay, this isn't applied to, not everything applies to me. Now, some book writers may come from a little more privilege than you. Okay, take the good and understand that you may have a different challenge somewhere else. So, but yeah, that's just, go ahead, right?
But sometimes I like it when people don't read. I like it when they don't educate themselves.
You just feel ahead of the game.
It makes things easier for me.
On me.
So let me just take on this, advantage that I have.
Just a disclaimer: everybody listening to this podcast, you should definitely grab a book and read it.
Nah, man, if they don't want to read it, let them not read it. It's more money for me,
On me. Sometimes that's how I feel too. And I always say that, like, rich people, we on the way. We're looking this way. Trust me. Like, we're always gonna give back to the things that we care about. That's just the reality. But like, I have this saying. I told the same thing to Marquise today, and I was like, hey, if this thing ain't helping me make $1 million, I don't have time for it. Like, unfortunately, I just don't. Like, I already know the causes I care about, and like that doesn't mean that I'm not like compassionate towards some of the things that are going on in this world, and I'm always gonna help out. But if you're gonna try to drag me down and be like, no, you should slow down. I'm an ambitious person. I got to take care of my family. I got to take care. There's a whole community out there that needs to be taken care of, and I think it falls on my shoulders. So I'm gonna do what I need to do in order to take care of those people and that. So at the end of the day, like you said, y'all cannot read, but I know where I'm getting my advice from, and I know where I'm headed. So like
And sometimes you don't even have to take the time to take the book and read it. You can get audio books. You can just put your headphones on, sit back, and just listen to that.
But you know what?
Even the spark notes a little bit, man. Like
another thing with this though is actually what would help is if you have a group of people reading the book with you, because then you can dissect it, have a talk after. I know Juju actually put me on Rich Dad Poor Dad, but actually Juju, a lot of people have told me to read that book before. I just never picked it up and read it.
Yeah, I'm just more influential, you dig?
But
win people and influence them first, and then he told you to read
that's probably what he did.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's actually good to have other people doing it with you, because then you can learn more about personal accountability. Y'all can trade ideas. Oh, I actually saw this specific part of it made more sense. Actually, no, I thought something else made more sense, and you come together and you guys share ideas. So, I mean, if people can start developing such groups, such friendships, I think it'd be beneficial for everybody, man. Like, plus it'll keep you personally accountable.
Look at this guy, man.
The cheese ball right there, man.
all our listeners are laughing. Don't worry.
Yeah, okay.
But to say that, like, I know I mentioned it a couple times, but do you guys think, kind of like, if you think about mainstream media and like social media, do you guys think it's becoming too toxic from a standpoint of people look at every issue in the world and they internalize it and they start believing it? I read 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. I know he's a very controversial person, but his book was very insightful as well. And one of his rules that he talks about is get your house in perfect order before you go out and try to change the world. And I think that's great. Like, I'll say, like, because right now we see so many people that think that they know how to fix the whole world, but you're like, hold on, like, I don't know. I have a hard time when Jeff Bezos gives $100 million away and people say, that's only a small percentage of his income. But people have a hard time pressing the yes to give $1 at Walmart.
Yeah, we got to cut all that out.
We're trying to cut.
We keeping it running, man. We keeping it running.
Keep it rolling, man.
Mistakes and everything. It's okay.
It's that
We'll
time of night.
we'll get the fiber connection for Juju soon enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Support
Fiber
everyone on the
optics.
page.
Yeah, exactly. Y'all tune into the podcast because I need new internet, man.
Yeah.
We struggle. No, but what I was saying, we
You gotta repeat everything.
I don't know where it cut off, but like what I was saying essentially is that, like, in the book it talks about, fix it, get your whole room in order before you try to fix the world. And when I see a lot of what's going on social media, I deleted my social media, by the way, but I have a hard time with people that have that hate on, let's say, a billionaire that gives $100 million away, and they're like, oh, it's such a small chunk of your income. But those same people, won't give $1 of their money away when Walmart asks if you want to give money to a food bank. Yeah. So it's just like, are you doing the things that you're asking everybody else to do? Like, are you like, if you want everybody else to sacrifice their whole life or everything that they've worked on, which a lot of people, to be honest, like, I want to give them a chance, like, and they do. But like, are you doing the same things? Like, are you practicing what you preach? But we see all these problems all over social media that we start internalizing and we believe it, and we're like, this is it. Like Bruh. This person needs to fix it. This person needs to fix it. This person needs to fix it before I can do anything with my life.
To your point, Juju, I think if you're gonna you can't take on all the problems of the world at the same time by yourself, right? Like, you need to stick to one thing. Hassan Minaj said it best. He was like, straws in the ocean and turtles' noses. He's like, y'all got that one. I can't help with that one. But if you have one thing that you're passionate about and you work towards that thing and you want to fix that thing, fine, right? But if this next issue comes up and it's a social injustice because of XYZ, and you haven't even heard the other side of the conversation on to why they do it, and you're not even thinking critically, and all of this is a lot of work that you're using up that you can potentially use to better yourself. So just stick to one social justice issue and like try to fix it by yourself. All right, like this you can't do all of it, right? You can't do all of it.
I kind of feel with the social media side of it, sometimes it's who you're following and what you're following.
Exactly.
You have the opportunity to follow all positive people. So you can see that as something that encourages you and gives you some direction and wakes you up.
I disagree though. I don't think
hot in the morning.
I think to say it's all positive people is a little misleading. I would say
what I'm saying,
all influential.
You can follow. Okay, yeah. You can follow influential people that have positive messages and cut out all the other stuff.
Well, but who's to say one person's message is positive and it doesn't
No.
What's positive to you?
Yeah.
Not positive to everybody else. You're
Exactly.
on your own journey, right?
But this is the danger of social media because it's just going to accelerate all that positive stuff and then you just become
But that's what you get out of it. Like you were saying, there's negatives that people get out of it because they follow loads of negative people, and it gives them that negative energy. If you were following positive people, Robert Kiyosaki, for example, Robert Greene, all them Roberts, if you're following those, right? You get all that positive light. You scroll up the screen. And you're seeing the positiveness.
Yeah, here's it.
If that's a word.
If you go on your Instagram and look at your follow list, right, and just see who's actually who's actually beneficial to follow, like who's actually giving you anything of value. Like, I was thinking about that the other day. I follow a whole bunch of celebrities I don't even care about. Like, I just look at their stuff on my feed, and it's like, why?
Yep.
Like, so if I do, I'm actually on a little cleanse as well. But if I do get back, I need to purge that and just follow people who are actually going to help me.
In the early days of Instagram, I was following a lot of big booty. I ain't gonna lie, but, and I purged all of them. So, but and if you look at my Instagram now, I follow a couple less big booty, right? But you gotta realize what social media is for what it is, because although now we were just talking about you trying to get positive information, right? What do we define as positive? We should put a definition on it. And
whatever
in my head,
you to move in a positive manner.
That's what I'm talking about.
I don't even want to say that's completely accurate.
Enlightens you to move towards your own goals.
I want to say that's better. That is a way better statement. Okay. So you want to look at content that is trying to help you pursue your own dreams, your own goals, your own your own situation, right? But depending on the situation, like if you are following something that is not really great, but in your mind is like the best thing ever, social media is just going to accelerate that. And then that's when the distractions come in. So if everyone watching this, although we love you and we love you watching the podcast, you need to think critically about what you consume on social media as well. If you want to pursue specific people for their knowledge and information, yes, also be careful with what you do, because Instagram is just going to add the next 3 or 4 pages that are just in the category, but they're all talking about different stuff. And like I said earlier, you want to take bits and pieces and put it together, but you do have to think critically about it before just hopping into everyone, because then it's just going to seem like a trend. And that's where social media thrives. You're just going to keep going on the trend, and that's when you become a social justice warrior, because your one influencer person is going to be like, we need to save the turtles with the straws, and then we got a great business idea to spin it, and then you're just back in the same stuck position as everyone else. So,
but negative can enlighten you as well, because then you can understand where someone's going wrong, and then it turns you on to make sure, okay, I'm not going to follow on and carry on doing that. Because when I it's like looking at yourself. Say for instance, after the podcast, we sit back, we analyze what we've just done, what we've spoken about, and it's educated us to another level because the words that come out of our mouth go back into our ears, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're looking at things that are a reflection of things that are around you or things that you're doing, then you can say to yourself, you know what? That used to be cool, but it's no longer cool.
True, but I think it's a little more granular than that. Because like someone's positive thing can be someone else's negative thing, right? And I'm not even saying like good and evil. I'm saying like if someone's like, all right, I'm looking into how to make money, right? Another person can be like, looking into money and being capitalistic is like the root of all evil. So like those are already like two opposing
for sure
kind of topics, and you know, social media is just going to accelerate person A towards one direction and person B towards the other direction. But if you as person C in critical thinking should look at both A and B and kind of just so and formulate your own thesis on it, so that way you don't spin far in one direction or the other, because no matter what topic it is, there's always going to be some opposite side that's fighting it. And you know, I don't know how to
talk about the algorithms,
but that's where
how they work to push certain media in your direction. Then but you can be a filter. You don't have to stop at everything you scroll through.
At the end of the day, it's exactly that.
You can scroll for 5 minutes just to find one piece of positive, enlightening information, and then switch off.
Exactly,
you know what you're looking for.
Should be able to do that. Not a lot of people can do that.
And you don't want to be wasting time looking at all these people doing different things, right? Like you want to be able to focus on your own stuff as well. That's why you want to purge your follower list or your following list.
When I come back, man, some of y'all, I'm sorry, man, but y'all got to go.
That way you're not feeding yourself so much, you know, nonsense that you don't really need to be looking at, you know. Because that's the problem with social media. It ends up being a waste of time sometimes.
And I think that it comes back to the conversation of like self-accountability again. Like you got to be able to look at yourself again and be like, hold on, is this stuff helping me? Like, is what I'm consuming, like, is this helping me advance towards where I want to be? You know what I'm saying?
You can't
like,
blame Instagram.
You can't.
You're going to be...
That's the easy thing.
You're going to take it on yourself and be like, you know what, I can switch off. I know, when I was using Instagram, be like maybe 2 minutes a day, if that. Sometimes I don't even go on it, but it's just having that accountability for the time that you're spending on something. What are you actually getting out of it? You might be getting a bit of entertainment, you might be getting a bit of education, you might be getting something else that Sid likes to look at. I don't know what it is at the time, but sometimes you just need that little bit extra something, right?
Hey, Marquise, you should share your screen time with everybody, man.
Oh man, my phone's away, but it's actually
that's what I thought. Anyway,
we gonna pull mine out right now.
We need to give some takeaways to the listeners. So I don't even know how we do this, but if y'all were to give something, like, I don't know, Marquise, if you still believe that nobody is nobody's fault, but nothing is nobody's fault, but you can say that. But if y'all were to give a piece of advice to the folks that are listening, as far as like being able to take it, because at the end of the day, we don't hate people. We're not out there calling everybody lazy. We just, we want the best for y'all. So if y'all, I'm gonna leave it to y'all. I'm gonna start talking.
I'd say one step at a time. One grain of rice at a time. You'll get to the end of it, but if you're trying to consume the whole thing at once and you're trying to manage it, then it's going to be too much for your stomach, right? And you're going to throw up. So take it one grain, one step at a time. Anything that you feel like you need to work on that, then work on the next bit. Manage it. Understand what you're putting in, and then move on to the next piece. So I would just say one step at a time, or one grain at a time. Yeah.
Yo, I love that. Sorry, I'm gonna go to y'all, but like I saw this commercial, and I don't love TV, but there's one commercial I saw recently that I've actually really enjoyed, and it's like, it says like one. I don't even know who has the commercial. I just see it, but it's like one day, and then like it sees all these mundane activities, and then it flips the one day to day one. And like it's someone getting going, so like it's just just start. Like it's day one of your journey. You're going somewhere. You don't have to get to the end goal today, but just start somewhere.
And then at the end, it was like Toyota Camry.
It probably was. I ain't gonna lie to you. But yeah, Sido, what do you think? A piece of takeaway.
I think everyone, you need to set a plan. make a set certain goals, right? 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 1-year plan. Set those up, right? Whatever it is you want to be, write down what it is in regular intervals. Where do you want to be, 6 months from now, year from now, 5 years, 10 years. Do at least those 4. And as you come across those like milestones, write these down. And as you come across the milestones, whether you achieve them or not, you will be able to, change your trajectory to focus more on your goal or realize it's not working and have to switch it out anyway. But if you don't have a plan and you hit a setback, what's going to happen is that your setback is going to make you like lose faith, lose confidence, lose, your focus. So if you have a goal and you have a set plan, maybe 2 years you want to have a new job and then you didn't really get the promotion you needed or whatever the case is. You wanted to make a certain amount of money, X amount of money, and that didn't work. Then you can brainstorm, what can I do to switch it? Do I need to get more education? Do I need to get more training? Do I need to just switch jobs? Maybe this job isn't the job for me. But none of these thoughts will happen if you don't write down the steps in regular intervals on what you plan to do. So set a plan.
For sure, 100%.
Even if you fail, you can fail the whole plan. Just at least setting it, then you could just be like, all right, I failed this one. Time to do another plan, and you'll be that much better off.
You could take a few steps back from that failure point and see, okay, let me go back to this point and take another direction to get to that same location. So,
yeah.
So,
that's what my takeaway.
At the beginning of this conversation, you just said your situation isn't your fault, but how you handle it is. I'd say people shouldn't feel like they figured everything out and they know exactly what they're doing. This is one path and they're set on it. Mm-hmm. You need to weigh different ideas. You need to be open to getting different perspectives on how life is handled. Life is huge. Like we don't know half the things we need to know.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is, get more knowledge, listen to your parents, listen to Robert Kiyosaki, read some books. That's the only way to move forward. And especially when it comes to personal accountability, you might not even know how to even start, right? But the best way to start is reading about it, learning about it. How do you start those steps? Like Sido said, that's the only way you'll be able to do it.
I just want to add one more thing in. Sorry,
but he always want to add something, man.
Always, man.
Trying to wrap it up, bro.
Every day.
I gotta go, bro.
Sometimes it is your fault. Sometimes you need to own up to and take responsibility and move forward. So we don't want the listeners to get caught up and thinking, "Oh, it's not my fault, but I'm gonna try and fix it." Sometimes it's your fault. Sort that ish out. Take accountability for the fact that you effed up.
Yeah.
You need to fix it.
100%. And just understand you're not a bad person because you messed up, but just fix it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on you.
Well, depends on what you've done. But
It's true. You only say the victim if you die, right? Once if you're still alive, you can change it up so you were not. You were a victim at that point, and now you are no longer a victim. Like, come on,
man. Seriously. But So for me, like the takeaway, I would say like it's just changing the paradigm and the way you see things. And if you see the world as I see the world as like full of opportunities. I see the world as like full of people with great potential, like able to do great things. But whenever you catch yourself, if you really want better for yourself, and whenever you catch yourself being like, oh, this person's bad because, oh no, but this person's bad, just kind of like check yourself again and be like, but try to focus on the good, try to focus on the positive and try to shift it around and try to shift, the way you view the world and not just think about yourself as being held back or being set back, but see the world as like a place full of opportunities. But either way, all I got to say is if you don't like something in your life, just go ahead and fix that shit, to be honest. But hey, go ahead, rate, review the podcast. Let us know if you liked it. Make sure you're subscribed and that you tap in with us on all social media. All the links are in the bio. But for today, this was the Problematic Cookout, and we are signing out. Y'all know the deal. Peace.
Glad to be back.
Y'all. We'll see you at the next one. We're waiting for the awesome season to come out.
Read those books. If not, I'm gonna get rich.